Everybody, I am not live tonight because I have some holiday plans. So I wanted to create a video using some of the November subscriptions. I just got mine in the mail the other day and I wanted to try and go ahead and use a couple, give you some inspiration. It's such a beautiful kit. I went ahead and chose the Winter Wings paper pad, which if you haven't seen it, it's just beautiful. You see, I put the papers in backwards here. Sure, here is what they all look like. And I went and chose two of them. And I chose, so I'm going to try to make two quick cards for you, kind of in a live style, but try to keep it, you know, so it's not quite so boring either. So I chose both of these papers. I mean, you can't go wrong. They're all stunning. So if you haven't ordered this, go ahead and order it today. This one I thought would be like the perfect mini slimline card. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it down right in half at 3 inches because my standard mini slim is 3.25 by 6 and it's already 6. I'm going to trim just a little bit off the top. And then I have this beautiful selection that I can use for another card or another project. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to take my Misty out here and we're going to stick this in, and I am going to grab the new, let's see, where did I put it here? The scripted stamp set. I just am so much excited for this. It's a 4x4 stamp set, but it's got all this, it's this beautiful script writing. I haven't even attempted to look at it because it doesn't matter to me. I actually think I might grab my original Misty here because we're gonna do some heat embossing and I want to have more space. So let's put that aside. I'm gonna go ahead and stick it right down here. And I'm gonna go ahead and use my magnet to hold it in place. And I think what I'm just gonna do is, we're not gonna do a ton of this. We're just gonna do a little bit here and a little bit there. I am gonna put this down way low so it's very close, kind of holding my stamp in place. I'm not gonna worry about if I get like it not perfect because that's not the point of what I want. I just wanna add a little bit of something to this that just makes it so pretty and fun. So I'm going to go ahead and use some heat, or my anti-static powder bag tool thing. And I'm going to grab my Brutus Monroe embossing ink. We're going to go ahead and just ink up part of this stamp. And like I said, if it doesn't get a perfect stamp, I'm okay with that. We're just adding a little bit of texture to this. I'm going to go ahead and move my stamp way down and put this over because I'm going to stamp just the top part as well. I don't want to stamp over my bird if I can help it. So put a little anti-static powder tool on top. Kind of being careful here because I have my stamp, it's up a little bit high. But I see if I can skip this last line down here, it'll be good. Like I said, I don't care how, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, of course my magnet is in the way. So we're just gonna move that off to the side here, actually. See if we can squish that down way low here. I'm gonna try to put that in there. I'm gonna hold it in place for just a minute and just push that down. Like I said, I just want a little hint of the script on here. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to grab copies of copy paper, and I'm going to use the Finishing Veil Scarlet that came in the box. It's this beautiful color. that I just love. And I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit. Like I said, this is just going to add a little bit of fun to our card without adding a ton of distraction. Put that back inside. Tap that off. Go ahead and cover that up. And we're going to heat emboss this really quick. It's going to heat emboss pretty quickly because it's not, like I said, it's just enough. You're not really even going to see it. You'll know what it is. Because this has more of an iridescent-y clear embossing powder with all that sparkle, but it adds just enough of the sparkle for some fun. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take, this is a little bit darker ink, but I am going to take the Weeping Willow in one of my blending brushes. We're just going to add a little bit of color to the edges. Just to, you know, rough it up a little bit. I'm actually thinking that I might want to actually rough up the edges a little bit, but I'm not sure if I know where my de-stress, I have a very old de-stressor. You could use a scissors too. So I might find that and we might do a little bit of that to this. So I'm gonna go ahead and take, I have this big scissors here. I'll show you. You kind of just rub it on the edge. I have a de-stressing tool I bought years and years ago, but I'm not sure where it is right now. So I'll show you what it looks like to use the scissors. Just kind of, it doesn't have to be all over. Just kind of did all the little edges. The more you do it, the more it kind of makes that kind of de-stressed-y edge look. And then I am going to quickly kind of just move this off to the side. Probably also would recommend you covering your ink pad because you can get a little of that. And then I'm going to go ahead and re-ink that up and kind of dirty it up a little bit. Just because those white edges, perfect. All right, it's got very simple so far. I think we're going to use some lunch bag cardstock for that, so let's grab that out. Oh, that's not a lunch bag. Because I think the color matches really, really well. So I'm just going to take a piece of this down. We're going to cut this down to 3.25. You could easily make this a slimline card, even though it's only 6 inches by, I'll show you, 3.25. And you could easily center this up right in the middle. If you didn't cut down the 3, like if you did 3 by 3 or 3.25, you could do it down to 3, but I am going to do ahead and do a mini slim card. So I'm going to cut this down to 6. Save that piece for another time. And then see, I'm going to put, you could put this right on top. However, I do want to add a little bit of that color to the edge of this too, just to kind of tie them together. And we're just gonna do that. I hope everyone is ready for Thanksgiving tomorrow. I think we're gonna have a low-key day. I'm kind of excited about that. Probably do a little crafting, take the pup for a walk, eat some good food, take a nap. It's one of my favorite things about the holidays is being able to just relax. So I inked up that lunch bag quite a bit. So you don't see the regular color so much. See the difference there? But I like it like that. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that like this. Now for an extra pop of color, we could add a little bit, and I'm thinking about it, adding a little bit of that, a holly or the scarlet, depending on which color you really want to use. They both would work. I'm just going to grab whichever one's handy here. I've got the scarlet. And what I'm going to do, let's see, how wide is this piece? Not wide enough. We're going to go ahead and make a very, very, very thin mat on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tape it down, and then we'll cut it instead of cut it, because I just want the hint. Now this is a time where a lot of times I like, if you do cut it and you measure, like if I wasn't filming, I might take the time to actually very carefully measure it and cut it out, because I would probably cut a little bit from the inside just because I'm using a mat, but I'm not going to do that tonight. You know, like cut a little bit of something from the middle here so that you can save that and use that for something else. But tonight I'm just going to go ahead and cut this. Now this might cut a little bit more than I need. Oh, I cut it actually about perfect. But if you're worried about that, always cut it a little bit more than you need, and then you can always trim it. I'm getting to, I've had this trimmer for a while now, so I'm getting used to it. But just watch what this little tiny pop of color will do. Look at that. Kind of changed everything. I mean, that's like the perfect card right there. I do see I need to trim this a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this in and just ever so slightly move it over. So I just took barely a sliver off of that. Get that in here like this. Now, a beautiful red ribbon would be wonderful on here. I don't have any handy, so I'm just gonna kind of skip that for now. We're gonna go ahead and glue this down. We're gonna go through and use one of the stamps from the stamp set to finish off our card and one of the sentiments, I think. So I'm just gonna, I had overhang my tape a little bit, so I just press it down with my fingers. I go ahead and very carefully eyeball that onto my card. I'm gonna grab a mini slimline card base. I don't know if this is one I made ahead of time or if this is one of our pre-cut ones. It looks like this is one of the ones that I cut myself. And this is where you have the option. So this is 3.5. So you can cut this down. Like I will probably cut this down to 3.25 because I don't necessarily want any white showing because it doesn't really work for my card. So 6 by 3.25. So see how that'll work on there perfectly. And I may find some ribbon later off camera to put some on there, but I'm just gonna wait for now. I'll put it on a card base later. I wanna go ahead and get some stamping done here. Now we have some options. We've got this beautiful sealed to you stamp that I could use, which is what I'm thinking about doing. And what I'm thinking about doing is I'm gonna go ahead and stamp it out on a scrap piece of that red cardstock with my mini Misty here. But we're gonna stamp it a couple different times. We're gonna really build up that, and then we'll die cut it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this back in the corner. I'm actually gonna flip it over because I had some golds, looks like a little gold spray splatter on there. And go ahead and put that down. Now this is a solid stamp I haven't used yet. I see I have a little air bubble, so I'm just gonna take it up and let it flop back down. And when I look at it, I'm looking to see if I can see any air bubbles because it's a more solid stamp. And I'm gonna rub my hand on it just a little bit since I've never used this before. And just kind of take off the manufacturing part. I'm gonna go ahead, ink this up. You could do some red embossing or red ink too. I'm just gonna use the embossing ink and pop it down. So this is going to mimic like a faux wax seal. And I have it all the way in the corner here. So I'll show you what I mean here in a minute. Oops, I have my other magnet here. Let's grab our copy paper. I think this is a different piece that I used before. I am going to throw a little bit of anti-static powder right in the center here because I find that helps ease. And now we're going to take the Cardinal embossing ink. I'm sorry if you hear my little puppy whining here in the corner. I'm not quite sure what he's whining about. And I'm going to push this off to the side very carefully because I want to heat emboss this. We're going to double heat emboss it. And what I mean by that is, let me show you. So it's a heat embossed once. Look how pretty that is. I'm going to make sure it's all heat embossed. So I'm going to tilt it in the light. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab my Misty again, stick it back in the corner. I'm going to make sure it's nice and cool before I do this because it's a little warm. Wait for it to cool. I'm going to add a little bit more anti-static powder tool. And I'm going to just check. Yep, looks like it's going to line up. Add some more embossing ink, and I'm going to emboss it one more time. You could do this several times. Kind of depends. Sometimes I find 3 times gives you that really good smooth edged look. This is more of a glittery embossing powder, so I might not quite get that smooth of a look as if you had one without the glitter, but it raises it up just a bit. All right, put that away quick. And then if you got some embossing like this inside, what I just do is I just tip it over my garbage can and shake it good, and then it just disappears. So I don't have to worry about that. Cover that up, and we're gonna quick heat emboss this. And now it's got just a little bit more, it looks a little bit more waxy. It's a little thicker, and that's what I wanted it to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and let it cool off for just a minute. And while I do that, I'm gonna get the matching die here. Just make sure it's nice and cool. Grab a anti-static powder or microfiber towel. This is the stencil, British Monroe stencil. Remember if it's the squeaky clean stencil cloth. I kind of use it for everything, including not just wiping stencils off, but wiping off my extra anti-static powder. I apologize, I just hit my knee on my table, so it shook everything. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and grab some low-tack tape. And I'm gonna go ahead and rotate this around. And I just, for me, the British Monroe dies match up really, really, really well. Now I'm on camera, so every time I say that, it seems like I move it just a hair, but that was, when I'm taking my time and paying attention and not videoing, it usually works really, really, really well. And look at, isn't that perfect? It's so perfect. I did move it. It's off just a hair, and that's my fault, mostly because when you videotape, you know, I can't put my head over it to show you, but it matches that. So I've got that, and we've got, I'm gonna put this down here in this corner, and then I think we're just gonna stamp off a sentiment and then stick it off right there, and we might call that a card. So I'm gonna get my mini Misty back out here. Clean my stamp off quick. I'll put that away. Mostly because when I'm working with embossing powders, I like to get them put away so I don't get extra stuck on there. And then we're gonna grab that big, beautiful stamp set out that came in the box, the Letters from Heaven. And I'm gonna choose a sentiment, and I'm gonna choose it kind of, I'm gonna do the I'm here for you. I think that's fun. So we're gonna stamp that out, and I'm gonna use that Weeping Willow ink and a piece of the lunch bag. I'm gonna stamp this down here in the corner. I'm just gonna pick up my Misty just to check it. It looks good to me. And I'm gonna go ahead and use that Weeping Willow ink. And I'm gonna stamp this a couple times just because I want that darker color and because I need to re-ink my ink pad. That looks pretty good. I'm just blue on it just a little bit. Go ahead and cut this down. Make sure it's straight. I'm going to line up the top of my wording with the top of my stamp set there. I'm just going to kind of eyeball this. Okay, so I'm going to cut just a little bit of this off with my scissors because it doesn't really matter. I'm going to go ahead and put this right here, and we're going to stick this right here. And that is basically our card. So I'm going to quick put a little bit of foam of adhesive on the back of here. I didn't quite get it to the edges, so I'm going to grab my glue press. And stick that down. I'm going to stick it up just a little bit. And then I just have some little pieces of our foam tape. Actually, I have a bigger piece here. I'm going to use that. Cut a big chunk of that off. And we'll stick that down. We're going to stick it right there. And then for just a little bit of added bling, I'm going to grab some of the Red Shift, if I can find them, gems. Yep. And then I'm going to go ahead and just add a few. I'm just going to put a couple right there and a couple right there. That looks good to me. I grab my pokey tool, so be prepared. Get your goggles on. Here I come. 1, 2, 3. And then we got 4 and 5. And then I'm going to take my towel because I have a little bit of extra glue and I just press it down. I don't rub, I put it in and just press straight down, and that wipes up that extra. And here is card number 1. So it just needs to be put on a card base. I'm going to go ahead and put that aside. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to take the second one. This is from that same paper pad. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this down. I'm going to cut it a little bit weird because I'm going to try to cut, I'm going to cut it down to 4 inches, which is going to give me this, you know, kind of a berry thing that you could be used as like a border, but 4 inches. And then I'm going to cut a little bit down off the top and bottom just to center up that main image. Love that. These little pieces here, I'm just actually going to toss because they're small enough. And we're going to take that same scripted stamp that I used before. And this time, what we're going to do is I'm going to just take it off. I'm taking it off the Misty. I'm going to stick it down on my mat here. And I'm going to add a little bit of this brown ink. And we're just going to kind of press in. See, we got that kind of fun. And I'm going to keep adding some more brown ink. I'm going to add it in a couple different spots just to add a little bit of that to the background. It's just a little bit of wording. And I mean, that's all I'm going to add is that little bit. It's just a little bit of extra. And then I'm going to go ahead and wipe this down and put it away so I don't mess it up. And kind of look and see. It looks like, yeah, this looks close enough. That's it right there. Alrighty. And then I want to take this bigger stamp set that we have here. I think it's kind of fun. I'm going to heat emboss, I think, this heart on here. And I'm just going to put it directly onto our piece of paper, our cardstock here. Maybe. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to take a piece of lunch bag cardstock. Got plenty of scraps. I keep all my stuff in a job ticket holder from Amazon. And I'm going to go ahead and stick this in the corner. We're going to stick it down here. It's going to be close enough. And we're going to stamp this. And I'm going to heat emboss this again with that cardinal. So I'll get that down, put that back in my corner. Heat emboss. Anti-static powder. Embossing ink. Stamp that a couple times down. Which I'm going to show you. You can actually use it kind of like a watermark. And it just darkens that up a little bit if you've not done that before. We're going to grab our little paper here. And I am going to use the cardinal. And I'm just going to put that off to the side. Let this get us, tap it down a little bit. Get it down. Now red, and no matter what you use, whether it's a watercolor, an embossing powder, ink, red can be very Copic marker or alcohol marker. It can stick, so just be warned to be careful, you know, because sometimes that red will stick. I actually happened to just touch the edge of that copy paper when I was putting my embossing powders in this patch, and it had a lot of static to it, so it stuck right to it, and you could see it because of the red. So let's heat this quick. So I've got that. And then I think I want to grab another one of these images. I'm going to grab this beautiful cardinal in one of the red cardon paper. This is more of that red paper. And I'm going to go a little kind of different. I'm going to quickly... I changed my mind. I don't want to use the cardinal. I want to use, I don't know. I think we're going to actually stamp out, I'm going to stamp out the love letters. We're going to do those, a pile of letters. I think the pile of letters will do back on this. I'm going to do these down here in the corner. We're going to make just kind of a little thing in the corner. And I'm going to grab that finishing veil. It's got because this is a red cardstock, I'm going to go ahead and use this finishing veil because it's got that little bit of red and that little bit of clear. We're going to see what it looks like. I haven't tried it on colored cardstock yet, but it should be just as stunning as I think it's supposed to be. Okay, we got that. Because that red cardstock will show up underneath. And then before we go ahead and heat set that, let us also stamp, and I'm just going to do it right here. Let's also stamp this little set of letters, anti-static powder. And we're going to go ahead and do this in I think I'm going to do that in the same, the veil, the Scarlet veil. So let's put that off to the side. I don't know if it's going to show up as much as I want it to. I may end up, oh, I just spilled it. Okay, so what you can do if you spill something like this is I'm going to go ahead and move this to the side. I'm going to just show you. I'm going to quickly snake this underneath, and I'm going to grab a dry paintbrush, and I'm just going to go ahead and brush it right into the copy paper. Hold up the end of it and brush the end kind of off. I mean, you don't have to get every drop of it off unless you want to. I'm going to go ahead and wipe that off, and then I'm going to grab it and just go like this. See what I was saying about the red kind of sticks? You shake it upside down in your garbage can, it goes away. And then we will go ahead and heat set these. Let's see what they look like. Oh, it's perfect. Look at that. And then, same thing for here. Look at how fun that is. And then we're going to go ahead and die cut these out. Now I have not, unfortunately, I did not cut my dies out ahead of time. So you're going to have to give me just a minute to die cut these. It won't take long. I've got these Bruce Monroe snips here, and we'll just quick snip, snip, and then we need this one, which I'll snip on this side. Oops, I just threw it in my garbage can. And then we're going to take these. So when I snip mine, when they're inside, I snip them away from the big piece like that, so that I don't have a lot of little pieces inside. And then I just take these to the garbage can and I just twist. And I get that little piece. I don't know if you can see that. And I get the little piece. And then I don't have to worry about them flinging across the room like you just saw that die do when you cut. If you quick twist. And then I will always kind of snip when I have two. But when I get to those little pieces, I just twist. And then I can, usually I do it over the garbage can, but I wanted you to see what that looked like. And of course, we got to find the piece that went into the garbage. There we are. And I'm going to go ahead and snip that one as well. And then we're going to quick die cut these out. I'm going to get this card finished up too. Couple quick, fast, and easy cards. Cut those all down. Let's get them all here with some tape. Put this centered right here. Oh, this red on this lunch bag is just stunning. And then we've got the pack of letters. like that. I'm actually going to tape it down on both sides here. And since I can't fit them all on, I'm going to die cut them up twice. All right. So there's that. We've got our beautiful pile of letters. I'm going to go ahead and I've got one of our die cut boxes here. It's perfect for when I'm working on a project, or when I'm live. I can go ahead and throw my dies right in one of the little sections, and then I can put them away afterwards and I won't lose them. I'm going to go ahead and use, I don't need all of this tape. Cut out our postage stamp. We're just going to create a quick little vignette. Is that how I say that? Did I say that right? And kind of just check. I think there is an up and a down on here. It's just, yep. It matched up just perfect. And then we should be able to put our card together. All right. So I'm just going to stick that in my little die cut thing up there right now too, so we can start putting our card together. All right, here is our card base. I've got these little, we're just going to make this kind of little image thing to go through. What I think I'm going to do is, I'm trying to decide how I want to do that. I think we are going to do this again on some lunch bag cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead, this is the piece that was left over from before, and we're going to cut that down to 5.5. Actually, let's do 4 1/4 first. That's because then I have a bigger piece, and then do 5.5. And this will be our, oh, I did not cut that right. Well, what size is that? Is this 4 1/4? Oh yeah, this needs to be at 4. So we're going to cut down just a little bit off this side because I want that darker side there. Just like this. And then we're going to have a little bit of here. And I think what I'm going to do quick is we're going to grab some anti-static. I'm going to grab some vellum quick, and we're going to just cut this down into a quick, I think maybe I'll just do a quick little 2-inch rectangle. And we'll stick it down on here. I'll have to cut it down just a little bit. What we're going to do is we're just going to make our little bit of our little, I think we're just going to do the 3 because this is extra. We can put this on the inside, and then we need a sentiment. And I'm going to just go back to the stamp set. We're going to look in the sentiments. And I'm going to say, remembering you this holiday season. I think that works perfectly. And grab our Misty. I'm going to take off our stamp sets here quick. I'm just going to throw them over on the plastic packaging so that I can stamp that out later. I'm going to put this down in the corner with those images there so I kind of see what I have. And what I think I'm going to do actually is we're going to stamp this out again on another piece of lunch bag cardstock. I'm just going to put it down here at the bottom. We're going to go ahead and stamp that in that brown ink that I used before. I'm sorry if I'm off camera a little bit. That Weeping Willow. So I did not plan most of these cards ahead of time. I just kind of looked at what I wanted to use and said, let's make some quick cards. So, you know, sometimes you just got to sit down, just use what's in front of you. Use the if you get in an inspiration box, you can make all sorts of cards with just what's in that box. Or, you know, use the stamp set and just the same pattern paper and maybe some coordinating cardstock. I do like to have cardstock that coordinates with the paper pads I'm using. And so I love that about Brutus Monroe. And I love how it tells you what works on the back of them. I'm just going to go ahead and cut this down like we did before. Get that nice long, and this time instead of inking anything, we're just going to go ahead and put this on. And then I'm going to go ahead, that will give us something that we can help to adhere our tape behind. So what I think I'm going to do is we're going to attach this first. I'm going to go ahead and attach this first right in the middle. And then we can cut our our vellum down because we'll know how long to make it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to add that in just a little bit. I'll put that over to the side here. I'm doing it right smack dab in the middle, and I'll try to peel that off and just do it a little bit lower. Try to get that as straight over as I can, and then I'll cut that little bit extra off. That's right there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to see what it looks like on our card here. I'm going to put it down towards the bottom, and it just reaches across. And now we can go ahead and attach these pieces. And then I can add some foam tape behind them as well, or some tape behind them as well. So I think we're going to tuck this guy, the little cardinal, red cardinal stamp, behind our little letter there. And then I'm going to move it over just a hair. It's okay that it's going to get covered up. And then I think what we're going to do is we're going to, I'm going to actually put some adhesive. I think I am going to do it. I'm going to punch this up a little bit. I'm going to grab some dots, foam dots here. And this is just a piece of our big foam strips, and I cut it down for when I need it, and just keep pieces behind. And then we're going to actually do this too. We're just going to do the bottom because it's going to overlap a little bit on the top. Just a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this down, and then I'll show you how we're going to finish this card off quick. Of course, I appreciate you guys staying with me tonight. We've got a couple more days left to use the Create Your Own Ending, the CYOE challenge over on the fan club group. It is favorites, so using something of your Brutus Monroe favorites, and show us what that is, and you can enter to win a chance to win a $25 gift certificate, $25 store credit to the store. You can enter two projects, and you have till, I think is it the 29th to get that. I'm going to go ahead and add just a little bit of glue for that. See, now we can go ahead and I can add glue all the way around this, all the way here, and we can add liquid glue all the way back here. I'm not going to worry about the top edges so much. Now, one trick I have learned is you can put a little bit of glue in the corners like that, and to take your finger and just rub it off if you want. Gives it just a little bit. I did not grab my sticky dots out tonight. Oh, shoot. We got to glue this down quick first. Should have done that first because the glue doesn't dry. That's all right. We'll make it work. All right. I'm going to eyeball this just so it's kind of centered. Grab this. I'm going to stick that down. I want it to be a little bit lower so you can kind of see those berries. More of a bottom focal point. And then I'm going to show you, put it on a card base. If you want it on a white card base, it's perfect. Or you can use like lunch bag one. And we're going to add a few more of these gems. These are the red shift. I'm going to put 1, 2, and 3 here. And I think we'll put 2 here. That gives us 5. I'm going to go ahead and grab my pokey tool thing again. Grab this. Thank you guys for hanging out with me this evening. I should be live next week to play with probably more of this. Who knows? We'll see what we're doing next week, but might have to make some Christmas cards. But here is our card, our second card for this video tonight. Pressing down to get that extra glue. I'm gonna just kind of push this stuff off to the side. Here we go. I hope everything was great. Give me a thumbs up, give me a like. You can find me over on Instagram as Sugar Cards, or on Facebook, Sugar Cards, and my YouTube channel, Sugar Cards by Candi. I appreciate y'all so much. I will link everything down below that is available, and have a great rest of your week, and happy